Jack of all trades here again with the Master of None channel. Today we're going to go over a little bit of, my usage and experience with packable solar panels. Not really going to go too in depth on a specific one. This one's very old and I haven't been able to find the exact model. I do have another one coming that's a lot later version. I did buy this little multimeter here that you'll see in just a second, testing out the output of the panel directly into my battery bank. Sorry for the shaky camera. It's a little bit of a pain to get this shot with the light coming in on this little LCD screen. That's just showing it unplugged. The panel's reading just over 5 volts. I'm trying to hold the panel and the camera at the same time. Drops down to about 4.7 with an amp and a half output. All right, we're back inside. The lighting's a little bit better. As you just saw, I'm going over a packable folding solar panel. This one in particular, all powers. I bought this probably 7 or 8 years ago, so it's likely not operating at peak performance just because of its age, but it's still useful to me. I still carry it with me on every trip. Even if I don't use it on every trip, I still carry it with me. There's a lot of, as we call them in the gun industry, FUD types. They're the type of people that say that no electronics ever are necessary in backpacking or out in the woods. Yeah, it would be nice if you didn't take any electronics, just going out and being out in the woods and enjoying nature. But in situations like when I have my son, or I'm going into an unfamiliar area, it's nice to have the GPS backup. And those batteries don't last forever. Even carrying a 20,000 milliamp hour battery pack, that'll get me about a weekend on my phone alone. And with me and my son, I carry my watch, he carries his watch, the flashlight. Sometimes I'll take the air pump. I usually have my cheesy little action camera. And yeah, all this stuff does last quite a while. Like, I think I can get 3 or 4 days in power saving mode on my watch. Watch just in regular mode will last 2 days. This flashlight will last, a month and a half on one charge. And I carry a spare battery because if I'm taking these two, there's one battery in the flashlight, one battery in the pump, and another battery here. So I can actually just swap them out, plug them right in, and charge them. So yeah, I don't use a lot of power, but if you're willing to sacrifice a little bit of weight, using one of these can make your 20,000 milliamp hour battery last nearly indefinitely. So like these, charge this little CR123 up, wait for this one to die, swap it out, plug it in. I don't have to use battery pack if I know that I'm not going to use that up, the second battery up before I get back. So that's not really a huge deal. I'll typically carry 2 batteries with the camera. So unless I'm doing something really long term, I'm not gonna deplete this battery too much. But a little bit about the solar panel. So as you saw in the beginning of the video, this puts out about 10 watts. It was so long ago that I bought this, and it's not marked anywhere on it, the wattage. So I'm not sure what it's supposed to put out. So that's why I bought this, bought this little USB multimeter. It's actually pretty neat little tool. I'll leave a link in the description on where I bought it. I think it costs like $10. You plug it right in, it gives you the voltage, current, and wattage. There's a bunch of screens. I haven't gotten a chance to mess with it too much. Gives you a lot of information on your power usage, your power output. But that reading that I got on there was indirect sunlight. So that was, I held the panel perfectly perpendicular to the sun's rays, and I got about 10 watts, which, you know, these old wall chargers, not talking about like the Samsung charger or the Samsung fast charger or ultra fast, or pretty soon they're going to be up to the super mega hyper fast charger. They put out like 65 watts and charge 5,000 milliamp hour battery in an hour and a half. These ones put out about 1 amp. That is kind of trash for a wall charger, but for something like a solar panel that you can carry on your back, it's pretty significant amount of power. So that was what, 1.7 amps that this was putting out. I think I got it up to 1.8 before I started recording. But I had to almost turn this past parallel to the sun's rays to get it to drop below 1 amp. So just hanging on the back of your backpack, just that incidental light from all around you is still going to put out power. You'll see carrying it around, the little indicator light that shows if it's putting power out or not will kind of turn on and off. So that's why I never plug it directly into any device. I plug it into a battery pack, which can handle that on and off and charge and discharge a little bit better than plugging it into a phone, and you know, you're constantly trickling just a little bit in there. I'd rather mess up the battery than mess up the phone's battery. But this, sorry if you can hear that, my little robot vacuum keeps turning on and off. I'll take this little S hook and I'll hook it on my grab handle for my pack. And then these down here, I'll hook them onto my sleeping pad strap. And that keeps it from rotating or flopping all over the place. It actually hooks on pretty tight, and I can cinch those pad straps down and it'll pull it tight up against the outside of the pack. It actually drapes really nicely over the pack, so you're not adding any extra size or anything that's gonna really snag on anything. Once done using it, or if it's a super overcast day and I don't need it, I'll fold it up, I'll leave this hooked, and there's two little webbing loops on the lid or the brain of the pack. This is actually the brain from my Aether Plus 100. So it actually doesn't add a lot of volume to your pack. Now, how important is having all these electronics to you, like your watch or your phone or your camera? That really makes the decision on whether this is going to be of any value to you. It does add a little bit of weight. I've gotten my pack below what I deem as an acceptable weight by a fair amount, so I have no problem just throwing this in my pack and adding it to my kit just for that extra little security. You know, being able to go indefinitely without power is something that's pretty handy to have if something ever goes wrong. I'll actually hook this up to the scale and show you guys how much you can expect to add to your pack weight. I don't know if you'll be able to actually see that. It's half a pound. You can remove a half a pound of weight in just your sleeping bag, going from a 500 gram downfill sleeping bag to a 300 gram downfill sleeping bag. Half a pound. I mean, if you're really trying to cut weight, you're not going to be carrying this pump with an extra battery. You're not going to be carrying a camera. You're going to be carrying a 10,000 milliamp hour battery. All that alone is going to be pretty close to a half a pound in weight savings. So this is just a little bit extra for a lot of extra security and, you know, navigation and communication. And that's all I have on that subject. If you enjoyed the content, if you learned anything, you know, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.